All
Yeah.
right, who are you? Introduce yourselves.
So my name is Scott Parsons, and introduce yourself.
It's Clay Dempsey.
And who are you guys?
So I guess in the context of that question, I'm a representative of Live at the Opera, Inc., and we are a nonprofit concert promoter based in Dothan.
And
I'm the former arts director in the city of Dothan, so I'm in charge of the Dothan Civic Center, booking shows, bringing shows. Soon to be Dothan Opera House, as soon as it opens back up, and then Porter Park, as soon as it opens back up.
cool. And so what events do you guys have coming up? If you want to we can get into the Civic Center and that kind of side of things, but if the Live at the Opera.
So coming up next week or next concert, we are hosting. Some of the audience may be familiar with Blackberry Smoke, which is
My dad loves them.
All right.
I have
Well,
a
let's see.
shirt, actually. That
Do you
was
really?
his. It's one of my favorite shirts. It's a tie-dye blue shirt, a Blackberry Smoke shirt.
All right, cool. So we know one person's familiar with them there anyway. But anyhow, big Southern rock band across the nation, and we're not having the whole band. We're actually doing a songwriter show. So Charlie Starr is the front man and guitarist and lead singer of Blackberry Smoke. Benji Shanks is one of their guitarists, and that duo is playing downtown Dothan next Wednesday, January the 15th at the Forum. So they're doing a short run of this kind of duo set up for concerts. They're playing at 38 Songwriter Festival, one of the headline acts next weekend down there. So we were fortunate to snag them to stop here in Dothan on the way down.
That is awesome. And then but you're Live at the Opera Inc. and it's not. Did y'all during their renovations or before the renovations, were you guys doing shows at the Opera House, or is this something completely different?
So when we started this thing back in 2016, the original intent was, of course, we didn't know what we were doing or have any future plans, frankly, but the idea was to create an entity that had money to book national touring acts, and frankly, probably more in the rock and folk rock and bluegrass and Americana, the stuff that wasn't coming to town. To bring those acts in, assume the financial risk with putting on a show, be the promoter, and to do everything at the Dothan Opera House. So that was the intent. We've done several shows there, but we've kind of branched out and done shows at places that aren't really venues that we've turned into venues, like Dothan Nurseries or KBC downtown.
That's cool.
Or Solomon Park, just random places like that. Because particularly since the Opera House has been out of commission for a year and a half.
More than that,
Something like
probably August of 23.
Right. So
y'all know when it's going to open back up?
Do so it'll be complete before the first weekend of June, because we actually have 2 shows that weekend.
Oh, so a lot of writing on that opening date.
I mean, there is, but the guys in charge of that project, they're great at what they do. They got a good team over there working, and they're gonna make it happen. There's a lot of activity of it. If you go by any time of the day now,
I've seen
weekends, everything, you see bodies moving in there, and
So do
it's
you
good.
know what exactly are they doing? Just kind of revamping it?
No, so since it's a historical building, you can't add more seats, or you can't, you really can't mess with the inside. So they built a pre-event space over closest to Main Street. The other side of the Opera House is a new amphitheater out in Porter Park.
Oh.
And then also, too, they upgraded the audio, the video, everything in there is state-of-the-art now, but the structure is still the same. They've added some fresh paint, some carpet, some new spaces, but it's still the same intimate opera house that it was.
I'm excited to see it. I haven't been in Dothan that long. I think a little over 2 years now.
Okay.
So I've never been in the Opera House.
mhm.
So was it like before? Was it just a big spot for events? Was it a common place for people to go?
I mean, I don't know that it was really utilized that often, frankly. Other than
It's still going to be, and it always has been, like a place for local plays, local pageants, local arts. Like we support SEAC there. Hoping to get, we talked the other day with the Tri-State Orchestra.
Mhm.
So we're trying to line up something over there during the Halloween weekend too, where they come over and they use a symphony to score live silent film on stage. So I think we got that
that'd
nailed
be
out.
fun.
Just like Scott said, if you go to that building and you look at it, like I had never really been there either till I got the job, and I went over and looked. It is a very special building, and you could do a lot of things over there.
and it's suitable. I mean, it's just my opinion anyway. I haven't done some stuff over there, but the acoustics of the room, the actual theater, are phenomenal. I mean, it's 100. How old is that building?
05.
105. It's over 100. It's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
So just old school theater. But the acoustics are incredible, and it's really set up well for, an acoustic-y type of thing, or a symphony, as Clay just
opera?
mentioned. Yeah, an opera, or just something like that versus, this may not be the best room for some all-out heavy metal band,
Yeah.
so to speak.
We're going to try it, though.
We'll
gonna try it.
Well, I've done it. It's loud.
Yeah.
So how do you guys know each other?
We've just from. I guess you grew up here too, though, right?
I grew up and I moved off, and I remember I was doing a lot of concerts down at the amphitheater at Big Creek for a few years, and me and Scott crossed paths there through a couple emails, and then we're also running into each other with the Mardi Gras crew. And I mean, if you're in Dothan, at least for me, and I'm a big music nerd. Growing up here, I worked at Camelot Music. Everywhere I've been, in any city I've moved to, I've been attached to music in some kind of way. So when you get back to Dothan and you look and you see these, kind of up and coming artists coming through Dothan, you always look at the promoter, and it was always Live at the Opera. So I kind of probably sought him out to start with, or asked, Justin April, who's in charge of this?
Yeah, and I think what's different with Clay since he took over than frankly the prior representation or leadership of the performing arts division of the city is Clay sought out, said how can I help? To help y'all. How can I help y'all do more stuff? And we didn't get that, frankly. So it's been refreshing, And Clay's not the only one. There's several people around town that are looking to help each other and try to make the music thing something more substantial. The live music thing something more substantial than it's been really for 2 decades.
It's the
probably.
big piece, In Dothan, you have theater, we have dance, we have your wife's involved with a lot of art. The piece that's missing is the live music piece of this whole art community. So one of my initiatives, or what I'm focusing on, is how do we create that here? There's not a lot of bars anymore. Those things are kind of the past. That's where bands used to start up and really get to play. So how do we create a listening room here? Or, like he used Solomon Park. I'm going to use Solomon Park for one of my grants next year, because you got to start utilizing space, So think outside of a venue. Think about it's where you could pop something up at and where the logistics work at. It'd probably be a pretty cool place to have a concert and a couple food trucks and add some other art elements to it. But that's how it starts. And then, him or I may never see it, but it doesn't mean that somebody your age won't see what's going on and then get involved, and then it just starts growing from there. So what we're trying to do is something that, doesn't last just as, the next 5 years. We're trying to do something that's in place for the next 50 years.
And I think I think the powers that be that are involved in downtown renovation and put money into new venues and, trying to make the city better, they appreciate and want to support the things that we're trying to do, because it falls in line with what they're trying to do, which is enhance quality of life, make Dothan a more attractive place for, frankly, young people to come to.
Coming from Birmingham,
Yeah.
such a big city, there's always something to do, always something going on. So, and then I went to college in Mobile, so that was another big city.
Always.
So when I moved here, it was definitely like a big change of pace and slow down. So I agree with you guys. I think there does need to be more things for people to do in Dothan, because there's not a whole lot.
And it may not be, just being real, I don't think we're going to compete with Huntsville. I don't think we're necessarily going to compete with Birmingham or Atlanta. But I think that, we may not be the most attractive place for somebody that's fresh out of school, at 20 years old to come to, because when they go to Birmingham or Huntsville or whatever. But we're a super attractive place for somebody that's, maybe 30, that's, starting a family or whatever and thinking about moving back or moving to Dothan. Dothan's going to grow regardless, because there's so much growth across the Southeast in general, particularly when you look at the Panhandle. That stuff is going to bleed up this way. So, people are coming. We need to make sure that we've got, great offerings from a programming and entertainment standpoint, whoever's doing it, to make Dothan more attractive and keep it attractive for people to stay here.
My grandparents grew up here when they were, or not grew up here, but they lived here in their previous earlier years. And they said from then to now, it's crazy how much Dothan has grown. And I hadn't been here. I think I've driven through on the way to the beach, obviously.
Yeah.
But They said it's absolutely insane how much Dothan has grown since 20 years ago when they were here.
Yep. And I'd say too, just from me and what I've gone through, I say I came back here in my mid-30s. I would encourage people that are from Dothan who may have moved to a big city, who are involved in some kind of entertainment, get some experience, bring that experience back home, add it to the pile, and see what we could do to push this thing forward.
That's some great advice.
Yeah, that's just the way way I look at things. And I know from my experience, like a lot of this stuff I didn't learn here. I learned it somewhere else. But no, I didn't. When I got back here, I didn't really want to be here because of the things you're saying. But then you realize, maybe you can change that for somebody down the road, or at least lift a little bit of it.
And there's a lot of people that are doing that here in this community.
A lot of people
that have ideas, that have initiative, and those people are finding each other. People within the creative world, if you were, and they're moving the needle.
And I have seen recently a bunch of shows or musical acts have been in Dothan. And don't you have a few more coming up?
We do. We have some really cool things going on. We've done some, things we're proud of. At least I'm proud of it. My team, I want them to be proud of what we're doing down there too, because it is still Dothan. So we're never going to be a Huntsville. We're never going to be in Atlanta. But doesn't mean we can't be a version. I went to a conference in Huntsville. We're never going to be that, but it doesn't mean we can't be our own version of something like that. We can
100%.
define what we are. We had some big shows last year. We went after a lot. Coming to a venue that normally had 3 concerts a year. I think we had 11 last year. I know this year we're starting off, we got this cool thing coming, Dirty Dancing in Concert, which is kind of different for here because they're showing the movie, and instead of having a score attached to the movie, the band plays it live on stage.
That's cool. I remember I actually talked about that a little bit in one of our shows because I saw that was happening. I've never seen anything like that.
And that's on a Thursday. Then you have, we have an R&B singer on the 19th too. Then you go into the Dirty Dancing on the 30th, Marshall Tucker Band on Saturday, February 1st. And then we have ZZ Top on March the 5th. And to have ZZ Top,
that's big. It's on a Friday too, isn't it? Wednesday.
To have Billy in the house is considered one of the best guitar players of all time in Dothan is pretty amazing to me. That thing's going to sell out. It's on its trajectory. Then we have something else. Have a couple things in April we haven't been able to put out because he knows it too. They'll call him, you put in a hold, then it turns into a whole kind of bidding game and logistics and
with how much the artist wants.
Well, it's just they're trying to see how they can route it because it's like freight. It's the same thing. If we're going to come here, can we stop here? What makes more sense for us to stop? It's typically within 6 hours of somewhere else. So we have a couple things for April we haven't put out yet. Then we have, I'm working on a big rock show right now, which I hope is cleared up next week. And I think that's going to be another sellout. Then we're going into the Opera House. Then we're going into a lot's about to happen all at once.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited to see it. You can't give us a little. I can edit this out too, but I'm just curious for my own knowledge. Who is the rock show?
All I can say is it's one of the grunge grandfathers. They just don't have their original singer anymore.
Make you think.
Because there's a lot of those dudes that are dead, but
We did. I went to the 3 Dog Night. Me and my boyfriend and his brother. We went to that concert.
What did you think about that?
It was It was good. I was looking at the singer. I was like, he's still got it going on. He's still.
There's one thing but you'll see about these guys, and I used to see it. I noticed it big time. There's an old comedian, Southern comedian named James Gregory. Did a couple shows with, and he getting out of his car. He's in his 80s. He's going slow. You're like, there's no way he's going to get on stage. But as soon as that spotlight hit, he just turned into a different person. It's just like that. Performer. That's when you realized, oh, he's a little different than these internet people. Like he is put in years in doing this. That guy handwritten me a thank you letter afterwards.
Really?
You don't see that. That's
really.
Yeah.
The lead singer, I thought it was really cool too because I know some of the original band members weren't alive or aren't alive anymore. But he had his grandson out there performing with him, which I thought was really cool. Kind of keep it in the family.
Yep. There'll be more stuff like that. There's going to be more country stuff this year, and then there's going to be some stuff that are just kind of off the wall that we're just going to try. Like last year we did an anime convention that went over well. We got a card show this weekend that you'll see guys our age with their kids or guys older with their kids and on down. Because there for a while there was a void where you didn't have anything to do. And you see it at nothing to share experiences with your family. Like it was very limited. even the wrestling. I love when wrestling comes. That's my thing. Like I do love music, but I tell my staff, hey, for an hour, don't contact me. Contact somebody else. I'm going to sit over here to the side and watch. But you see it at that because something like wrestling had such a there's a lot of wrestling history in Dothan. I mean, Dothan is a very profound city for wrestling.
Yeah, I've heard about that actually, and I interviewed. I can't think of his name. I want to say Billy. He was the NWA champion. It was him and a girl. And
that was
Hard
that's Brian.
Times, or I
That's
think
Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, he was a character. I will say that.
Were you on the news today? He put me in a headlock on the news. I didn't know it was coming.
I did not see that.
He's the guy I worked with to make it happen. And first time Billy Corgan for Smash Punk was in the building, and I thought it was really weird that possibly the biggest rock star that the building's ever had is here for wrestling, not being a rock star. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff. So the wrestling thing, you see people, again, families making memories, and that's what it's all about for me. You see kids that's never seen this stuff before, and their dad's around, younger than me. They're just sitting watching it. It's an amazing experience to watch.
It was great to see we were sitting there watching and just seeing. It was like a mostly older crowd at the Three Dog Night show, but it was good to see. It was just they were enjoying themselves. Girls all having a great time. So y'all are definitely doing something right, bringing a lot of smiles to people's faces.
You got to do something for everybody. Something for everybody, and that includes, like he was saying, with the arts community. It's all about, in order for Dothan to go forward and build this community that we need to build, everybody has to work together. And that's just, and there's going to take some compromise, and even on everybody's side to, hey, this is what we want, this is what we need, this is what I can provide, and everybody's going to have to figure it out.
He's got to make everybody happy. With the stuff we do, is like,
it's easy to make him happy in his group because,
random and esoteric, and, 200 people want to see it.
Hey, that's not true. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming out here today. Talk to me.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
You're going to give the people something look forward to, some upcoming events.
Yeah, and I would just say, if I can plug last, and you, or I'll plug for you, but for anybody out there that wants to kind of keep up with what we're up to, what the city's doing, you go on the social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, go to Live at the Opera Inc., as in Incorporated, and follow us there. And then you can sign up for the email distribution list at the Dothan Performing Arts, or I guess it's Dothan Civic Center's website. DothanCivicCenter.org, and a couple other things coming up just that I've thought about as we were talking about it. Talk about people having an initiative and just creating some things. There's a Dothan Songwriter Festival. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? And you need to mention that other thing. No, this is talking about
the folklore.
Yes. Help me out.
I don't know the day.
Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
Brett Stafford Smith and some local songwriters that put this event together. I think it's the end of February. Which looks kind of cool. And then he's working on a big songwriter event in July.
Yeah, so July the 19th, we're going to have the first ever. It's the first ever developed event too, from inside the city at the Performing Arts staff. It's going to be a singer-songwriter contest. So we're going around. We got some entry forms and some ways to enter. They're going to go around the southeast, and we're going to look for 6 people to bring in. And by the time it's over with that night, they'll be down to 2. So I will be hitting some people up for sponsorships because I can't give away money as the city, so I do need a prize sponsor. So if somebody out there wants to really jump on top of this event for the first year, get in touch with me. I promise you it'll be a multi-year event. I'll make sure you get your investment's worth.
Some good information. A lot of big plans. Glad you mentioned that, and I'm glad you guys came in today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for your time.